I want to thank Principal Zipkis for his great work. The folks around here are doing something right, and I think the rest of the country can learn from what you're doing. So I've come to listen and learn and highlight some of the good work that's being done. And you're doing things a little differently around here than a lot of high schools, and it's working. It's working. And by the way, the majority of students at Maynard don't come from wealth or privilege. Some folks here might have come from, some pretty tough backgrounds, and yet the vast majority of students here stay in school, they graduate. Your test scores in most subjects have been higher than the state average. Almost every member of the recent graduating class went on to college, and about 60% of them were the first in their families to do so. You should be proud of that.
Today, and I want to say thank you for the hospitality and for everything you have done for us. But today we are here to listen to you. From there, then we will speak directly to you what the thank you, what the thing. So we give the floor to the minister today.
I'm truly and utterly grateful. If I tell you the insistence and persistence of this man, I think if we had few ambassadors of his kind, Liberia will be where we need it to be. That we go and get ourselves developed, but we always go and reach back, so that not only we are lifting others, but we're looking to see what we receive, make impact in our countries of origin. So I can't thank you enough. I can't sing your praises enough, because there are days and nights he would call and he's calling again. But I saw his heart through all of it. And it's always been not for me to take the glory, it's for me to see how I can impact the lives that I know I've left that had the same circumstances that I've had. So I'm so grateful to you. I can't tell you thank you enough for making this connection with Bill, with Steve and Laura and the rest of the team. So it's important that I know that your stay has been pleasant, that you felt safe while here, because that's the message we want you to take, is Liberia is open for not only the type of work in the education sector that we need to see happen, but that is open for investment as well. investments to education, of course, is our realm of work, but there are other investments as it appeals to tourism, agriculture, gender-related youth development that we're hoping that this administration can touch and reach. I'm grateful for your time here. You've had some time to go around and do the assessment of the various schools and institutions. I know just the tip of the iceberg of what you could have uncovered. I wish we had the time to, go in the counties. That's why I thought to give you a brief synopsis of, the video so that you see and understand that the need in the country. And I believe with our collaboration, there's a lot that we can do. And I always said that the first day I came to office, I sat in my office. I always have a routine, like we all do have our morning routines, and I prayed and I asked myself, what would I want to see on February 23rd, 6 years past my office, taking office? What do I want to see? And it was that vision, that, that recollection that had me going back and say, okay, I want to be able to see this. I want to be able to see this. I want to be able to see this. And it was in that moment that I started to map out some of my major priorities. We're crystallizing now activities that will line up with them for inclusion in our operational plan. And the first one is girls and inclusive education. That's one of my key priorities. Because if you look at the numbers, like even our Human Development Index and the number of students, female students that are graduating from high school, before we even talk universities, and then placement in employment at the leadership level, those numbers are very, very low. Just in our discussion in Buchanan, when we were working on the operational plan, when about, I think, 3-4 years ago, the numbers of women in school management leadership or even in the county educational leadership was about 16%. And that has gone down to below 8%. And for the number of women that we have in our population, to see that they are being left behind, and where we start is with foundational learning. Is they start early childhood, and then for some reason we see them fall off before they get to junior high, and that's a critical period. So if you're not getting enough of them through the pipeline from elementary to junior to senior secondary, how many then do you get into the universities? How many then complete universities? How many then find gainful employment at the top leadership level? If it's not political, in essence. So that really is one of my key priorities is girls and inclusive education. Why inclusive education is what I found, even with the reports, the USAID reports, UNICEF reports, the World Bank reports, OECD reports, is we're leaving our population behind who have some form of disability. We have the school, and in my tour, I was able to see, some of these institutions. And some of these institutions were mostly run by private organizations. When we got to schools, we were asked the question, how many, students with disabilities do you service in the school? It was either we do not have, or yes, we do, but we really don't have the means to really provide for the resources in terms of their instruction that we have, that they need. And then, of course, you have personnel who, were handicapped as well, has some form of disability. People with agency, if you can just prepare them, because I'm blind doesn't mean I don't have agency to produce and be a productive part of society. So or maybe I'm hard of hearing, doesn't mean that, you know, I don't have agency to be a productive part of society. So it's my way of trying to work with other line ministries to see how best we can collaborate efforts and leverage opportunities to really give, you know, give these people hope, these citizens hope. What I found in NIMBA was a lot of the area that we were at the time. What I was told at the school we visited, the principal at the school, operator, he said, "Mister, I had to leave some people behind. I couldn't take everyone." He says, "If you just went, you know, to this nearby village, you will see there's so many people with hearing loss." And what resonated to me in that conversation was just remnants of the Civil War, because Nimba was one of the hubs for the war, and with all the bomb blasts and, you know, all the shelling, you know, it could have, you know, really hindered people's hearing. So these are the challenges that I found preliminarily whilst I was in the fields with, you know, girls not completing school and students who needed to be included in preparation or instruction for the future for employable skills. They were not. So a second area of my focus is upgrading teachers. And in that upgrading teachers and school administrators is really assessing the skill set of instructors and instruction in the classroom. What are they doing? How are they doing it? Where do we see the gap? Where do we need to strengthen? Because you can't come into a school system and shut everything down, right? You have to work with what you have there. Is everyone gonna cut it? No. Well, how can we repurpose them to be of service? Because one, that's their livelihood as well, right? So teacher upgrading, and within that teacher upgrading area is the idea of finding incentives. Because what I found cursorily during a cursory review of why teachers are not kept at their duty stations. So for example, the recruitment for teachers and school administrators is done in Monrovia. Look for opportunities to build teacher housing within the community that they work, so that, you know, you place someone, at least their immediate needs you've already, you know, taken care of. They have housing, you know, there's some sort of healthcare maybe in the school setting. So working with the Ministry of Health to see how, you know, we can accommodate that, because those we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? First must be taken care of. So is taking care of them in that way to be able to retain them. Throughout the tour again, what we found was the lack of seating in the classrooms. You saw examples of them. There were some school buildings where kids were sitting on mats on the floor. That's not an enabling environment for any student to come, and even the teachers to come and work and learn in. So really trying to consolidate efforts, whether it's through the donor community, through private engagements, to get seating in the schools and sustainable and durable seating. Because what we've had over time is these wooden chairs, and they will build them, but they won't last. So it's really changing the types of chairs we have in the classroom and how we anchor them to make sure that they stay put, and you know, over time you'll have, you know, you'll decrease the need to always purchase chairs. And then another one of my priorities is TVET. We know most of our students who are the population, everybody cannot go through the academic pathway. So what other pathway can we, you know, ensure that is strengthened to make sure and available for our students to have an option. So TVET, and we're thankful for the collaboration with the EU, They have really taken on the TVET sector to build, construct schools, TVET schools around the country with state-of-the-art equipment. But the conversation I was having was with the ambassador and some of the other European ambassadors is that we have excellent that we have these structures, and they put a lot of money in training. Instructors sent some folks out of the country, whether it was on the continent or elsewhere in Europe, and brought them back to be the ones to train in there. Is for me linking those trainees now with private sector opportunities, right? Because the whole idea of training them is to make sure that they have gainful employment. You can't have them trained and there's no place to work. So how do we do the next phase of that gainful employment for those young people that will graduate? And also even looking at the TVET offerings, can we expand them to other industries that we know are blue collar? Really looking to lift the blue collar sector up, in the country. Because you still have to know how to read and write, right? There's a literacy component, there's a numeracy component. So you still have to know how to do those things to be able to build anything, right? Or if you're gonna fix a car, you have to know these basic things. So TVET is certainly another area that I'm gonna really focus the work of my ministry, and is tied to the ARREST agenda. TVET, so if you look at the ARREST agenda under the human development pillar, you'll see that one of the things is quality education outcomes, which ties to the teacher instruction and all of that. Reducing overage, overage students, and then the under enrollment. That's pillar one, and then pillar two is TVET, and then pillar three is governance. So all of what I have as priorities are tied into that, strengthening quality, improving quality outcomes, learning outcomes, strengthening and opportunities for TVET, and then governance. This is setting up of this President Walker's administration. One last thing that we currently don't have, we have portions of them, is school feeding. We do school feeding in Liberia through the donor community. Two donors that support school feeding. One is USAID through Mary's Meals, and the World Food Program. And the models that we use here is one, the homegrown school feeding program in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture. That's mostly through the WFP. And what that is they try to utilize small farmer cooperatives, mostly women-owned, to grow food and then harvest them and then sell them to WFP, who then buys them and gives them to the school to cook for the students. Same with Mary's Meals. But their model is they buy the export commodities and use that and give that to the schools to prepare for students. And what school officials have told us over time throughout all the visits that we had is where they had school feeding, they saw increased enrollment. So the idea for school feeding to be, the importance for school feeding to be nationalized cannot be overemphasized. Because if a student comes to school hungry, not in the full mental capacity to learn, they're not going to learn. They're not going to be focused. But if you can feed them, and that's even something that you can encourage parents, send your kids to school. When they get to school, they get a square meal, healthy meal, and then get them to the classroom. That will be another strategy to help boost enrollment in schools, because our enrollment is dwindling, and we know we have many factors impact the low enrollment. One is the girl students at some point they're not brought to school because of traditional practices, and those are some things that we're working collaboratively with the gender ministry on. Minister Blemmy, who I know you met yesterday at the Ministry of Gender, to really kind of work on the side of communities and cultural traditions, to really share with our parents and our families and the communities. And then lastly, one of the things that just emanated from my engagement with the young people at the Day of the African Child is what we found in schools also is the need for safeguarding our schools and safeguarding our students. So there's a child's rights policy that we have in Liberia, but I'm looking to develop a child's rights and safeguarding policy that will have whoever is in any of our school systems to sign and adhere to the safeguarding of students within the school system. So that's something new that I've added to the list of priorities and activities to undertake. I mean, with all of that is the strengthening of our data systems, because everything we do must be informed by data. Mm-hmm. What is the data telling us about instruction? What is the data telling us about school management? What is the data telling us about students and belonging and all of, wellness and all of that? National assessment, we're calling it NSQ, the National School Assessment Query, some tool that they're using to collect data, and also the National School Census tool. The last time school census was done here in Liberia was 2021, and that data came from 19, 20, and then it got into 21. So we need a new census to know, one, how many institutions we have across the system, where they're located, how many are enrolled. So that data tool, the tools that they're going to use to collect or do the enumeration and the data collection is being developed or finalized this week with the Department of Planning. So once that is done, the ESA project, the educational strengthening activity that is also funded by USAID is going to help the ministry strengthen our data collection system and our MS system, the Education Management Information System. So with that kind of encapsulates my focus for the ministry, what we're looking to engage, how we're looking to engage, and then developing milestones and indicators for where we are in terms of tracking those activities. In a nutshell, I think that's where we are.
There we go. You say you want to listen to Minister right?
That's
Now the fortune is here, and we're going to start.
Currently, the government of Liberia working strictly with NGOs, or is there private public sector working as well?
There's currently the LEAP program.
Yes.
Yeah. So the LEAP program has started as the partnership schools for Liberia. It was its first, one of the first reforms that then Minister George Warner introduced, and then my predecessor, revamped to the Liberia Education Advancement Program. And within that, non-state actors are providing education services to the country. Currently, we have the Bridge program. We have the Rising Academy. We also have Youth Movement, and we have Street Child. So those are the four non-state actors in terms of NGOs that are providing services in the schools. But they are government-run schools that have been operated by these non-state actors.
Are there services that come in, or are they strictly just working to running the schools?
They are working to run in the schools, mostly around instruction.
Yeah. Okay. That was really.
And another non-state actor is the Luminous Foundation. Their scope of work is accelerated learning, because we have a lot of overage students. What we we found is we really do not have a national accelerated learning curriculum. So you can, come, Steve Simkis can come and start a program, Laura starts a program, I start a program, but we don't have one national curriculum to say, if you're going to do accelerated learning in Liberia, here's how it needs to be done. And here are the components that it must include.
I know there's a 5-year second plan and you're working on the 5-year operational plan.
3
years.
3 years. Yeah.
Okay, so as a minister of ed, how soon are you looking at having the wheels start turning and getting teachers prepared?
As soon as possible.
Message to the minister for me. It has been a humbling experience, and her welcoming us into her home, Liberia, and your home, has been an experience that I've really taken to heart, and the hospitality shown by everybody has just been, it was beyond my expectation. It really is. I have to tell you. And not only do I look forward to coming back and doing some work with the education system, I look forward to coming back and seeing my friends. All right? Thank you so much.
And it's a pleasure meeting you as well, taking upon your schedule through the instrumentality, bringing to Liberia to see some of the harsh reality we go through here, just to ensure that we educate our children. This country, the fabric of our educational sector has been destroyed by the 14 years of civil war, and also further exacerbated by the Ebola virus that come and shut down our school system, further with the COVID-19 as well. So we have had some experiences, tough ones, and I think with the Minister of Passion for Education to rebrand the sector, it's a collective effort, and the government alone cannot solve this problem. So we depend on you for your expertise to help support us in this venture. So I want to say thank you for coming.
I just thank you.
It's been a good
Thank
week.
you, Bill. Thanks, everybody. The hospitality was amazing. And we look forward, again, to coming back many times and getting to business. And with Bill here, I mean, we couldn't have done it without him. And he definitely
You have a
has
wonderful
been.
team too, Bill.
He's magical. I mean, all of this happening so quickly, and we were just right on the same wave. Right on the same wave.
A week ago,
And-
this was not on my mind at all.
I said, don't back up on me. I was like, no movement?
no
skip on me.
improvement.
No movement?
No improvement.
All right.
Yeah.
This is It Digital. Finding your It Factor.